So in 2002, the Zen source code was first released, and at the Symposium for Operating System Principles in 2003, they presented their first work and kind of made it even more public, their project. And my advisor attended that conference, and she felt that it was such an interesting thing that she came back excited and said, let's repeat their work and see if we can extend it to different hardware. And so they had very impressive performance numbers, and so we validated their performance numbers and also tested on a Z server. We actually had a Z server that was won by the university, by the computer science department, and we also tested on lower end hardware and found that actually you can get very good performance from software. And as a result of some of that work, companies actually took a closer look at Zen, and going into at 2006, Amazon, and the same year SliceHost released their products based on Zen to provide cloud computing service. In 2008, the Rackspace Cloud was founded. They actually purchased SliceHost and used that as a basis initially, and then they've moved on to using Zen Server based on Zen as well. In 2009, Zen.org announced the Zen Cloud Platform, and that was kind of just a way to open source more of the platform so that there would be more collaboration around the stack above the Zen hypervisor, so more people could access it and work with it. In 2010, OpenStack was announced, and we'll go into the history of that in a little bit, so I'll save that. In 2011, just last year, a lot of developments are starting to happen in this space. The domain 0, or the control domain, was introduced into, it's merged into the mainline Linux kernel as of Linux kernel version 3.0. And XCP 1.0 was released, and also a project called Kernels was started to basically get the tool stack, the API above Zen, to be more available to users, and I'll go into the details of that in a little while. And then in 2012, just recently, XCP 1.5 hit beta, and it should be released second beta soon, and then this year we'll see that. And going forward, there's another talk that I gave, and it's linked to in the references that tells more about the specifics of XCP. I won't go into too much depth here, just kind of give an overview of the whole space and show you where you can go and where you can find more information. So the Zen Cloud Platform is basically the Zen model, but with an added component, the Zen API, and that's in the box here. XA API. So it's Zappy, and it's the component that provides the a management layer on top of Zen. And also notice on this slide the third-party management tools. We'll come back to how that kind of can play out in this cloud space. So, just to give you a sense of what XCP is, it's an open source version of Citrix's Zen server, and the actual features that are provided in XCP are very, very close to some of the paid versions of Zen server. So it's a legitimate open source project that has good features in it. One thing that it added was the idea of pools. So you could pool machines together based on logically grouping them how you wanted to, so that you could do things like live migration and configuration easier, and also disaster recovery could be made more simpler because you could know that systems in a pool could be used in the case of something another system going down. Or another really neat project, Open vSwitch. It's a software switch, and anybody that's likes networking or wants to dig more into that, just let me know. It's a really neat project, and I've worked with some of the people there some. And it's an open source it's another open source project that's gaining a lot of momentum and really neat. That's built into XCP. And then the key driver to XCP is the Zen API, which is fully open source, and the stack like CloudStack and OpenStack are actually integrating using the Zen API. So they use it to have the XCP or Zen server backend as a hypervisor using that API. And just briefly, there's a project. This is the Project Chronos I was talking about, which allows the Zen API to be decoupled from the XCP distribution. So the XCP is just a distribution of Zen, but if you would rather have the same functionality, the cloud management API available on your distribution of choice, this is slowly becoming available. We have working examples for Debian and Ubuntu, and I provided links. All the slides are available on SlideShare, and they'll be provided. So I have a lot of links throughout, so you can check back later for the details. But the basic idea is the next distros will be Fedora and CentOS, and then if somebody else wants to add more support for other ones, we're doing that over time. And then here's that picture again, with this time showing you where CloudStack and OpenStack fall into the picture. And now I'll just spend a little bit of time on OpenStack, which was founded in July of 2010 by Rackspace and NASA, who came together wanting something they could collaborate on in open source, kind of get the cloud kind of going and have innovation around it. And since they announced that, more than 150 companies have joined the effort. Citrix and Dell, AMD, Canonical, HP, Cisco, the big companies, and they're actually on their fifth major release coming up now in April, and it includes a compute service, object storage service, an image service, identity management, and a web dashboard. Okay, so just to give you just a brief overview of it, we don't have a lot of time to cover in depth, but you have the compute component, and that's basically where all your VMs run. And you have an image server where you would store the actual backend images for those VMs, and then behind that you have a cloud storage in the object store that allows you to scale out your storage. And like I mentioned, there's a web dashboard, and there's an identity management component that does all the authentication for the system. And so that's a really quick overview, but we don't have a lot of time. And so this picture again, showing you where OpenStack fits in that. OpenStack would be a VM in that, running on the XCP system. And so, just the different ways you can get involved. You can get involved as like a user administrator. You can download this stuff, install it, and test it. You could be a developer that wants to create packages for your distribution, or maybe you want to write extensions or plugins, or maybe you want to write a whole service that does some more complicated thing. Like I said, the networking components coming in that I talked about, they're actually adding a network component to OpenStack in the next release cycle. And if you're neither of those, you might still be somebody that's in a position to start researching this for your company, manager, or somebody that you can have your employees work on researching this and setting up deployments. And in the interest of time, this is just a quick example of basically you'd start with you want your laptop, you'd install the packages, and then there's scripts that are available to build the VM that you need to do the OpenStack part and deploy it onto the system. And so that you could also do this from a server. You might decide to go with the XCP package distribution, install from either ISO or use a Pixie boot environment to install it, and do the same process. And then finally, if you want to dig in more into how to build a cloud and in production how to really use it, there's a set of tutorials that are available on the internet that cover things like configuration management and monitoring and cloud storage. And I'll list some resources for where to get more help, and I'll list the references here that I didn't get a chance to refer to all of them, but there's a bunch of references that you can look on your own later about this. Thank you.